Hi, and welcome to the Men on the Path to Love podcast, the 5 foundations of a healthy relationship that most men aren't taught episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. I coach men who are rebuilding their lives after breakup or divorce, helping them understand their relationship patterns, grow into the best version of themselves, and create deeper love and real connection, showing up differently for the next chapter of their lives so they can live the life they love. So I want to ask you something. What if the reason you struggled in relationships wasn't because you were bad at love, but because nobody ever really taught you how to build a healthy relationship in the first place? Well, I keep saying this because it's true. Man, it's not our fault. And as I continue this series on building a healthy relationship, I think this episode is probably one of the most important. Because in previous episodes, I talked about chemistry, compatibility, conflict, and commitment, all those things. And now we have to talk about the foundation. And the truth, most people, period, are not taught these foundations. Men and women both suffer from this. But because my work is with men, I'm speaking directly to us guys. Because most men were taught things like, you got to be strong, don't be too emotional, you've got to be a good provider, fix the problem, solve the problem, push through, don't show weakness. And while responsibility, strength, and leadership matter, that alone does not create emotional safety, connection, or lasting intimacy. Nobody sat most of us down and said, here's how to communicate. Here's how to repair conflict. Here's how to build trust. Here's how to be emotionally available. Here's how to create intimacy that lasts. Nope. Most of us learned by trial and error. And man, I definitely did. I learned the hard way. Through relationships that didn't go as planned, through divorce 3 times, and through patterns I didn't understand yet. And then through therapy, coaches, self-help books, workshops, research, all the trainings I've done, and a whole lot of uncomfortable honesty with myself, I started learning what actually creates healthy love, healthy relationships. And giving you these foundations is my way of paying what I've been through forward, okay? So maybe you don't have to make the same mistakes I made, all right? Now, I will say this. Even with those mistakes, I don't regret a thing because every hard lesson led me to where I am today. It shaped the work I do with men. It helped me become a better husband, a better partner, and honestly, a better man. And doing this work keeps reminding me of the things I have to do to nurture my relationship. So in this episode, I want to walk you through what I believe are the 5 foundations of a healthy relationship. Number 1, trust. 2, open communication. 3, mutual respect. 4, commitment. And 5, emotional and physical intimacy. And research strongly supports these foundations, these pillars. Experts like John Gottman, who you hear me reference a lot. There's Dr. Dan Siegel, Sue Johnson, Esther Perel, and decades of relationship science that consistently points back to these same core principles. I'm talking about emotional safety, trust, responsiveness, repair, respect, and connection, which are all covered in these foundations. All right? So let's get into it. Now, the first foundation that I mentioned is trust. Now, trust isn't just believing someone's not going to cheat on you. Trust is being emotionally available and reliable. It's knowing you mean what you say. You follow through. You are emotionally safe, and you are consistent with it. And according to Dr. John Gottman, Trust is built in what he calls the sliding door moments. The small everyday moments where we either turn toward our partner or away. And so many men were taught, you just be loyal, right? Well, what we should have been taught is trust is built through consistency, being consistent with it, being honest, and emotionally present. So, for example, she could come home and tell you she had a hard day. And you could say, oh, you'll be fine, right? Or you could pause and listen and say something like, tell me more. Tell me what happened. And it's small moments like that that build trust. Because trust isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on repeated moments of being emotionally reliable, available, and consistent. Foundation number 2, open communication. Yeah, man. Most men were taught communication means that you solve the problem, you defend yourself, you avoid conflict at all costs, and you just stay quiet until it all blows over. Well, that's not communication. That's really survival. Right? It's how we cope as men because of our conditioning. Now, real communication means honesty, clarity, vulnerability, and doing the repair work after a conflict or argument. It means learning how to stay present in discomfort, being comfortable getting out of your comfort zone, right? So instead of saying, yeah, I'm fine, you say, honestly, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately and I realize I've been pulling away from you. And let me tell you, that sentence changes everything. Because communication isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest, truly honest. Research in emotionally focused therapy shows that emotional responsiveness is one of the strongest predictors of relationship satisfaction. Yeah, it's not being perfect, but being emotionally available, reachable. The third foundation, mutual respect. Yeah, and respect is a lot deeper than just being polite. It means valuing each other's voice, honoring their boundaries, allowing them their individuality, and handling conflict without contempt. Dr. John Gottman found contempt is one of the strongest predictors of divorce. And what I mean by contempt, it's your attitude, like, rolling your eyes or mocking your spouse or partner, belittling, being dismissive. Those are examples of contempt. And those are the things that slowly wear away and destroy the relationship, destroys the love and the relationship. And what many men were taught is, if I'm providing, that should be enough, right? Well, what we should have been taught is respect is how you make someone feel, not just what you do for them. And an example of that could be she brings up something that hurt her. And instead of saying, oh, you're overreacting, you're too sensitive, say something like, I may not fully understand where you're coming from yet, but I want to. And that's showing respect. That shows that you really want to hear where your partner is. And respect creates safety. All right, moving right along. Foundation number 4, and that is commitment. Commitment is not just staying in the relationship. No, it's choosing to be there over and over again, showing up, choosing growth, choosing to repair after an argument or conflict, choosing responsibility and accountability, not just when it feels easy, but especially when it doesn't. It's so important. So, say after an argument, instead of, shutting down and withdrawing emotionally for 2 or 3 days, you come back and say something like, you know what, I don't want this distance between us. Let's work this out. That's commitment. not stubbornness, not obligation. It's intentionally being in a partnership. It's like teamwork. You're working together, not against each other. Healthy relationships are not sustained by feelings alone. They're sustained by our decisions and our choices. So we choose to commit. And the last foundation I'll mention is intimacy, emotional and physical intimacy. And this one matters a lot. Most guys were taught intimacy equals sex, right? But intimacy is emotional closeness first. It's being heard and seen. It's emotional safety. It's affection, touch, playfulness, being present, being honest, and having that desire. And sex matters, man. I get it. Physical connection matters. But without the emotional intimacy, physical intimacy often becomes disconnected. So an example of that would be, instead of only reaching for physical closeness at night, try to create emotional closeness during the day. And that would be checking in, during work or whatever. Being present, focused on her, holding her hand, offering appreciations, and letting yourself be seen. That creates intimacy. And as psychologist Sue Johnson teaches, secure relationships are built on emotional accessibility and responsiveness, not performance, but real connection. So let me bring this home for you. If you struggled in your past relationships, it doesn't necessarily mean you were broken. By all means, it simply means you were never taught the skills required for a healthy relationship. And that's important to take in and understand because it matters. And what I've seen over and over again is the shame that men have because they think they're bad in relationships. And it's not that men are bad in relationships. It goes back again to our conditioning and a lot of what we were never taught. And once you learn these foundations, everything starts to shift. Again, learning about trust, communication, respect, commitment, and intimacy. And really, these aren't advanced relationship skills, okay? They're just the basics. And I remember learning to play drums, I had to learn the basic rudiments, which made me a better drummer. So it's the same thing with relationships. Yeah, because basics done well changes everything. And if you're realizing as you listen to this that these foundations are exactly where your relationship struggles keep showing up, that's where the real work begins. That's the work I help men do. And if you want support understanding your patterns, rebuilding your confidence, and learning how to show up differently in relationship, then please book a free relationship clarity call through my website, menonthepathtolove.com. That's menonthepathtolove.com. Because healthy relationships aren't built by accident. They're built intentionally, on purpose. And the good news is you can learn how. And if I can do it after going through 3 divorces, so can you. Now, that brings us to my quote of the week, and it's from author and motivational speaker Tony Robbins. And he says, "The quality of your life is the quality of your relationships." Yeah, and I chose this because healthy relationships don't just happen by luck. They're built on foundations, like I mentioned, trust, communication, respect, commitment, and intimacy. And if those foundations are weak, life feels heavy. More conflict, more arguments, more loneliness, more disconnection. But when those foundations are strong, everything shifts. You feel more at peace, you feel more confident, more connected, and more love. And that's why learning these relationship foundations isn't just about becoming a better partner. It's really about creating a better life. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, the 5 foundations of a healthy relationship that most men aren't taught episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. Thank you so much for listening. Now, coming up on the next episode, as I continue my series on building a healthy relationship, I'm going to get more specific and go deeper into one of the most important foundations of all, and that's communication. Because most men don't struggle because they don't care. They struggle because they were never taught how to communicate under pressure. So let me ask you, when conflict shows up, do you shut down or do you blow up? And what would it look like to do neither one of those? Well, then please join me for the How to Communicate Without Shutting Down or Blowing Up episode. And if this episode you're listening to right now spoke to you, and you know someone who really needs to hear it, then you know what I'm going to say. Please share the link and share the love. And until next time, keep your heart open and stay on the path to love.